So last week we finished with Shay's Rebellion, which was a group of farmers and former soldiers from Massachusetts who rebelled against paying the taxes, and the state militia had to bring them down. What we covered the other day was that this led to a need of a federal government, well, not just a federal government, but a federal army. Because remember, with the Articles of Confederation, okay, there was no really strong central government. So if I look here, where is it? Here you go. Okay, the federal government had no power to tax. They had no power to enforce laws. Okay, and they also cannot form an army. So that is evident with Shay's rebellion, where it was the state militia that had to bring them down. And the fear was that if there was a larger rebellion, that the state militias would not be able to repel it. Okay, so this is going to lead us into, again, aim, how the leaders of the new nation plan to fix the problems of the Articles. Okay, do now explain the problems with the Articles of Confederation. Okay, so this will be quick. There's like 4 slides. Won't go much further into that today. All right, so Constitutional Convention. Over here you got Washington, Adams, Franklin, Madison, Jefferson. Okay, they understand that the Articles need to change. They meet in Philadelphia in 1787. They actually met 2 years prior. It was Connecticut, and there wasn't enough delegates or representatives that went that time to actually put something together, because at that point people didn't actually believe that they needed a strong federal government. And there's 2 sides that we're going to go into. A framer, and I have it underlined for a reason. These are the men who framed / created the Constitution. So again, men like this, men like Governor Morris. We're going to go into kind of each important, Alexander Hamilton, who's actually not pictured here, each important person who helped create the Constitution and then defend the Constitution. Okay, and again, this is where you have the founding fathers, okay, the founders of the United States, and just for example, I gave Washington, Franklin, and Madison. There's obviously more. You can name all of these guys. Okay, and I just started here and wrote down kind of just reiterating what we said the other day is Articles of Confederation didn't work. Ignore this. Okay, so Constitutional Convention. President of the convention was Washington. Okay, he's brought back from Mount Vernon. We all know what's going to happen eventually. He's going to be named the first president of the United States, unanimously, which he didn't want, but we'll go into that when we get to it. Okay, the convention would be kept a secret because they did not want the people to know that. Well, they didn't want them to know daily what was being planned, and fear that some of them would not be for it, and they would start to rebel while the Constitution was being made. Okay, so some important questions that were posed. Do we need a strong federal government? Okay, how is representation going to work? And particularly, how is representation going to work with small states versus large states? Okay, what you're going to have is you're going to have 2 different proposals. They're going to kind of like borrow from both to have this great compromise, which we're going to talk about, which is going to have the House and the Senate, and you have representation based on population, and then you're going to have representation based in the Senate, just 2 senators. Okay, whereas the House is based on population. Okay, so Virginia plan. Again, you can pause whenever you want to kind of write the notes. Okay. Okay. 3 branches of government, and these are going to look familiar. Legislative, make the laws. Executive, enforce the laws. And judicial, interpret the laws. Okay? When you're talking about 3 branches of government, even today, again, this is what you're talking about. All right? Judicial, Supreme Court, executive, president, legislative, Congress. All right? There's a worksheet on this, and I will send that out with this assignment. Okay? So you have the 2 houses, which are representation based on population. So that's the Senate. Okay? There is 2 senators per state. There's 50 states. That's 100 senators. Okay? You didn't have 50 states in 1787. So it's going to be different then. And the House of Representatives is based on population. Okay? And what that does is it allows the Senate, small states are going to have equal population. Okay? And the House, larger states who have a larger population are going to be given their fair representation because of that. Okay, so it's kind of a compromise. All right. The second plan is the New Jersey plan. Okay, which is William Patterson, New Jersey. He wants a 1 House legislator Same amount of representatives in each state, more power to the states. Again, the Virginia plan, if you look over here, okay, Virginia plan favors large states, hence Virginia. Virginia was a larger state, okay? And the New Jersey plan favors small states, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to have this two-house legislation. So you're going to have, they want the representation based on population here with the Virginia plan, all right? We know that the Senate is 2 senators, it's equal. The House is based on population. So it's they kind of combine what you have here, okay? And then we'll just go straight to this. We're gonna skip this, okay? All right. So great compromise. Bicameral legislator. So that is having the 2 houses. So the Senate, same amount of representatives. House of Representatives, representation based on population. This is a very important little diagram that I put here. Okay, if you look here, what they both have the same is both plans called for a strong national government with 3 branches. Okay, that's the same. National government and federal government. Okay, so the government that we have today, not state government. And you see that each side, again, one wanted based on representation, one wanted equal. Small states wanted equal, large states wanted based on population because they had a larger population. So the great compromise, okay, is that you're going to get both. You're going to have these 2 parts of Congress, and the Senate is going to be equal, House based on population. Okay? So if you look here, again, House of Representatives, each state is represented according towards population. This satisfied the Virginia plan because large states are now going to have more representatives in the House because of their population. And the Senate, each state has 2 senators, which satisfy the New Jersey plan because that's equal. Okay? And to pass a law, it has to go through the House and the Senate. So right now, if you're looking at the news, you can see that they're trying to pass different programs for relief during the pandemic that's going on. So they have to go through the House and the Senate. The House right now is controlled by the Democrats. The Senate is controlled by the Republicans, and that kind of leads to issues. Okay, so hopefully they can come together. All right. Okay, we'll do this, and then we're good. All right, so the debate of slavery came up in terms of population, because again, in the South, the majority of the population was slaves, and they want, because they have a lot of population, both slaves and free whites, they want to both be counted towards the population so that they can have a higher amount of representatives in the House of Representatives. Okay, so the question is posed, should slaves be counted as population in the South? The South says yes, the North says no. Okay, if you count the slaves, then there's more representatives in the South. If you don't count the slaves, then there's going to be more representatives in the North. Okay, so you're going to have another compromise. So there's 2 compromises. You have the Great Compromise and you have the 3/5 compromise. The 3/5 compromise has to do with, are you going to count slaves as population? And 3 out of 5 slaves would be counted. So for every 5 slaves, 3 would be counted towards the population. And then the slave trade couldn't be banned until 1808. But the reason why this is important is they argue that slaves aren't people and they have no rights. Yet they're using them as their population so that they can gain representatives in government. So if you look here, Northern states, I want slaves to be counted for taxes since we don't have many slaves up here in the North, though I don't want them to count for population because that would give the Southern states more power in Congress, and we don't want to be overpowered by the Southern states. So again, their fear is that you're going to count all these slaves, then the South's going to have too much power, so they limit it to 3 out of 5 slaves. Okay, but it's hypocritical because now they're counting these slaves towards population, but they're not giving them any rights. Okay? All right, I don't want to move on to the ratification. We talk a little longer about that. Oh, don't know what I did there. All right, so I just want you guys to again kind of review the 2 plans that are proposed. I'm going to give you a worksheet and how they combine them together to form the Congress that we have today. All right, okay.